Hi, welcome to the next channel. I often have discussions with my students and also sometimes with my clients as well when we discuss about architecting a custom VPN, or even sometimes if it is a question of optimizing an existing VPN service and stuff. So I do work on things like TUNTAP based VPN architecture, or it can be even Open VPN, if not Open VPN then VPN, and various things like that. For beginners, especially when it comes to students, they get still a lot of confusion because they are confused from the IP layer itself. Till you get the proper understanding, you get a lot of confusion, but overall they are confused about the whole concept of VPN. I just thought let me also give another analogy. I have done various videos giving various analogies. In the past I have done some Amazon parcels and I explained about this tunneling stuff. Today I want to give a different analogy where you will able to visualize. See, recently Indian government have announced again starting the RORO service or the RORO service, which stands for roll on and roll off service, where they propose you can carry like this. See, you can see here I just googled RORO service and you can find a news article. See, Piyush Goyal shares a video of Indian Railways doing this RORO service. So the idea is they can use trains to carry these trucks, and even they have sort of posted a video. Yeah, you can see here the train is going, it is a goods train and it is carrying these lorries which is tied on the train. See, we compare this with the typical traditional stuff which is trains carrying containers. See, there's a lot of difference when you see these images, which is quite common. You get trains carrying containers, carrying shipping containers, yeah, something like this. So you get to see this as well. We do have this quite common in India, and of course you will find it worldwide, that you get either trucks or trains will carry these containers. See, when you compare something like this with a service like RORO service, and moreover the RORO service, it's just not something typical for Indian Railways. It is what it is called. You can see here there is a Wikipedia page as well. In that it has a definition like roll on and roll off ships are cargo ships designed to carry wheeled cargo such as cars, trucks, and things like that. So this is what it is. So when we take this as example to understand VPN tunneling, see, I have put lot of videos about tunneling and as well as OSI layers with respect to tunneling, and also I said that in real world not all the 7 layers works. You get IP on IP, IP on TCP, and various things actually. So you have lot of combination. You can carry IP packets on and another IP layer with its own transport layer. You can also carry just transport layer on an extra IP layer with its own transport layer, and various combinations are possible. So that way, if you take this as example, so let's take this as example. See, we just take some picture. See, something like this. So we take something like this as example. See, we take this picture as an example. So let me do a quick screenshot, right? So we just take this as example and paste it over here versus just any truck on the road. Okay, so we can take this as well. Okay, we can just take this as well. So let me take another screenshot of this. Okay, and we can compare what it makes a difference. See, this is a different case where the train is carrying one or more cargo in its cargo bay, it is carrying these containers. So this is one way it can carry goods, or other way here you can see here it is carrying the entire trucks. The objective of this is due to COVID crisis, they want to optimize this travel time, and instead of these trucks going on the roads where there is a severe lockdown, they can anyway use railway infrastructure, and they can carry this in a much faster way from, especially state to state and stuff. So it is a good thing because truckers can anyway sit inside their truck, and they can go through these trains. Okay, so that's the overall idea. And if you compare a truck, going on a road, so let's take some random image. So let's just copy this and put it over here. See, in this case, we can see, let's take the example of the first one, the railway railroad, or those tracks, typically, we call as railroad. In India, we call as railway tracks. So, you can see there, so these are the tracks on which this train is going. So if you compare, this is going to be your layer 2, or maybe we can start with this. See, there is a simple thing where we can compare. You have the road and you have this truck which is carrying a payload. Okay, so if you compare this, what is the analogy is, this is going to be your data link layer, or the layer 2, right? So this is the layer 2. And the entire part of the truck, we can sort of compare it with IP and TCP, or IP and UDP. So which has this IPv4 header, and then the transport layer. The transport layer can be anything, it can be UDP or IP. So this is one way, and this is how a typical packets travel across the internet without VPN. So this is what happens. And even in this case, if you see here the railroad, we can compare it as a layer 2, so L2. Let me just pull it down, and on top, whatever the train, the whole train is going to be your IP and TCP, or IP and UDP. And then this is your payload, which is the application layer protocol headers. Okay, so this is your payload, and in this case this is our payload. Okay, in the case of RORO, this is so synonymous to a VPN service. You can see there the railroad is the layer 2, and then what we have done is the trucks, instead of standing and traveling on the road, they are now on a train, and the train is carrying, the truck is sitting idle. Okay, so if you see, the train itself is the outer layer 3 and transport. So let me not put TCP or UDP, let's call it as transport stuff. So you have this L3 and transport, which is your IP and TCP or IP and UDP. So the train is that outermost transport layer, and then on top of it you have the entire vehicle. Okay, so here what you have is, you have the payload on each vehicle. See, this is the payload on this truck, on each and every truck, and then each and every truck itself is a L3 and transport layer. Okay, since it is not on a road, there is no layer 2. So this is what exactly encapsulation happens in a VPN like scenario. Some VPNs may not have the entire the transport layer or something like that. You can of course customize. They may not have the entire overhead of extra L3 and transport, and in some cases you can have an entire L3 and transport carrying on another IPv4 header and a transport layer. So this is kind of a good analogy of VPN service. So after seeing this, you can understand, you can sometimes carry, if the packets are small, you can club them together and you can carry them with a single packet. I do that in my Toffee, for instance. Although Toffee is not meant as a VPN solution, it is meant for WAN optimization, but you can do something like that. You can do multiplexing of multiple packets. In this case, if you see in this exact example, right, see, a train is carrying, let me just pull a picture. See, in this case, a huge train is carrying, right? Let's just put something like this. A huge train is carrying many trucks with its own payload. See, some of these trucks are oil tankers, some of these trucks are gas carrying trucks, and some are carrying other goods, especially since because of lockdown they are prioritizing essential services. So they may contain medical equipment, they may contain any rice, wheat, pulses, etc. So that's what is the intent. So on this train you have many trucks, right? So again, if you compare, we can see the whole train is, let's assume, is a single IPv4 packet with TCP or UDP transport. You have a whole train, and in this case each train is carrying many trucks. So which means in one packet it is able to carry many individual packets within that packet, which doesn't happen in real world VPN. Although having said, sometimes it can happen if it is some type of WAN opt sort of a solution, because the intent is, if you have many VoIP packets, it can club together. If you have many sequence of small packets, there is a DNS packet, there is some IPv4 SYN packet, reset packet, something like that, ACK packet, right? So it can be something like that. TCP control packets, not the TCP data carrying payload packet. So it is just, all these are tiny packets, okay? Hardly you have 20 bytes for IP header, and then 20 or 24 bytes whatever for the TCP header, or maybe 32 bytes whatever. I'm sorry, I think 32 bits, okay? Whatever, something like that. So I'm sorry, not bits, it's bytes. Let me just check, I'm just confused. TCP header, yeah, it is sequence of octet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 24 or something like that, or 20 bytes. So typically your TCP ACK may contain 24 bytes or something like that. So in that case, what happens is each truck is itself is a self-sustaining carrying vehicle, which is sitting on another self-sustaining carrying vehicle like this train. So you have a combination of IP on an IP situation here in this type of example, if you think about. So whereas in this example, like I said, although these payloads can be lifted and then put on a cargo ship, like these containers, they can be lifted and put on a cargo ship. These containers can be also lifted and put on a trucks. But in this case, what is happening is it is just a payload. It doesn't have any carrying protocol like IPv4 headers and stuff like that. So, or in this case, like this entire truck, right? You have this engine and all this stuff. You don't have it here. You don't have any chassis or something. So here we can compare it as payload on IP and transport on a layer 2 versus if you think about this RORO service or RORO service, it is typically this, because you have the entire vehicle on another vehicle, but that vehicle is not on any layer 2, which is its road surface. Instead, it is going on a railroad, and a train is pulling this, these trucks. So this sort of depicts sort of VPN architecture. I do get sort of weird comments saying that this guy came and then he's showing. In my previous video, I have shown some Amazon packets and stuff and explaining how the packet encapsulation happens. So I do get sometimes people don't get the point. See, if you want the regular stuff, you can see regular online documents where they try to teach you about something, what happens in the packet level and stuff. But before getting there, the moment you get a proper understanding with real world analogy, you get to know the complete picture, and from there you will understand what it is, the whole big picture is. So you will be capable enough to understand by yourself rather than just reading the docs or specs of this tech, VPN tech, and then trying to figure out how it actually pans out. So I'm kind of giving a simple analogy. By seeing this, you will able to remember quite easily. And if you are an architect, by seeing this, you can also design a different model where you can optimize and stuff like that. If you optimize over here a simple RORO service, you should able to even dream about optimizing a complex VPN solution as well. So hope my video is useful. If you have anything to discuss, post your queries in YouTube comments or discuss in mail. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.